Okay, good morning, year 10. I'm speaking fairly quietly today because it's Thursday night and my daughter's asleep in the next bedroom, but hopefully you can hear me. Right, we're going to look at straight line graphs today. So graphs, which are essentially straight lines. So I've got a pair of axes here that I've just drawn, and we've got, of course, two axes, a horizontal one and a vertical one. The horizontal axis, Matthew, is the x-axis, and the vertical axis, thanks Seb, that is the y-axis. Okay, so we are going to draw a graph which has this rule, and this is really important. It's a rule that links the x-coordinates and the y-coordinates. So, before I do that, I'm going to just mark out some coordinates. So the rule is that the y-coordinate is the x-coordinate plus 2. So let's choose a few x-coordinates. I'm going to go for 0, 1 and 2. So let's have a think. The y-coordinate is the x-coordinate plus 2. So if x is 0, y must be 2. And if x is 1, y must be 3. And if x is 2, y must be 4, because it's always x plus 2. Right. Let's turn those into coordinates by putting the brackets and the comma in. Remember, you always must have those brackets if you're defining coordinates. And I'm going to mark them on the graph. So again, remember, when you plot coordinates, it's along the corridor and up the stairs. So the first coordinate is 0, 2, which goes there. Second coordinate is 1, 3. And the third coordinate is 2, 4. Now what you can notice is those three coordinates sort of form a straight line, which is quite nice. So I could join them up, but I know I could use lots of other x-coordinates, and I could get coordinates that are somewhere along this extended line in either direction. And it's really important that I draw that graph, that line, across the whole axis to show that there's an infinite number of points that could lie on that line. Anyway, just to finish this off, I'm going to name the line, I'm going to label it as y equals x plus 2. And again, just think about what that means. It means every point on that line meets or satisfies the condition or the formula that the y-coordinate is always 2 greater than the x-coordinate. So if the x-coordinate's minus 4, 2 more than minus 4 is minus 2. Little interlude at this point for two big things. Remember your homework. So from Friday and Monday's lesson, I want you to complete that exam paper. Really important part of your revision. Revision for what? Yep, that's the test that a few of you mentioned to me on Tuesday. Your next test will be on Friday the 30th of January, and it'll be based around a foundation exam paper. So if you want to make a note of that in your diaries. Okay, here we go. This time we're going to draw the line which has the rule y equals 2x plus 1. So the y-coordinate is always the same as the x-coordinate, well, doubled plus 1. So I'm going to find some points on the line. So let's choose some values of x. And I always choose simple numbers because they're easier to put into this formula. So when x is 0, 2 times 0 plus 1 is 1. 2 zeros is 0, add 1 is 1. When x is 1, my y-coordinate will be 2 lots of 1, which is 2. Add the spare 1, that gives me 3. And when x is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, add 1 is 5. So now let's plot these points on my axes. So 0, 1, that's quite easy. 1, 3, that's quite nice. And 2, 5. And again, I'm going to join them up, but extend that line, that's a badly drawn line, but you know what I mean, all the way across my axes. And that is my line where every point on that line, every coordinate that's on that line has the relationship that the y-coordinate is double the x-coordinate plus 1. And I know I've done it right because they all line up in a nice straight line. Okay, here we are, last example. Bit tougher than the others. Multiplying by a negative number. So again, I just set out where I'm going to write down my coordinates that give me an idea of where this line goes, the line where all the points satisfy this rule. Put some values in for x, again choose some easy numbers. So when x is 0, the y coordinate is minus 3 times 0, that's nothing, plus 1 is 1, that's easy. Let's put 1 in there now then. When x is 1, minus 3 times 1 is minus 3, and minus 3 plus 1 is minus 2. So if you think about that, y equals minus 3 times 1 plus 1, which is minus 3 plus 1, which is minus 2. And finally, when x is 2, minus 3 times 2 is minus 6, but if we add 1 to minus 6, we get minus 5. So those are my coordinates. Let's plot them and see if we get a straight line. So we've got 0, 1, 1 minus 2, and 2 minus 5. That looks pretty good. They're in a nice straight line, so if I join them up, and obviously you guys are going to do this with a ruler, there's my straight line. And I'll label it. Again, always label your line. And just before you start the exercise, just having to think about that line. That's a little bit different from the first two we drew. If you think about them in the examples, they looked a bit like that. Yet this line looks like that. Why do you think that might be?